And welcome back to the STPL. My name is Kix. Joining me is Rapid. You're here for our first series of 2019 and the first series of week 7 as well. It's Net Wars versus DM. And we're about to head into our third game here, which is going to be between these two players right here. It's kogeT versus DM White.
Wow, this is the most impressive thing about Net Wars roster. It's like you get through their top 3 players, and their 4th player is just as good as their top 3. I mean, kogeT is BSL finalist every year? Not every year, because the first 2 zeros in the finals. So, but he's just another one of the best non-Korean players of his race. And White, you know, he's got DM's hopes in his hands right now. For kogeT, he is looking to solidify Net Wars' place in the STPL Round 3 finals.
Yep, so kogeT's TVP as well is just absolutely insane. He's actually 10 for 3 against Protoss. Some of the Protoss players he's beaten he beat Noob. He did lose to Noob before as well, but he's beaten DeWalt. He also lost to DeWalt, so a little bit crazy there, but he's played against some really good Protoss players and beat them. Now White, I mean his that's a little bit of a bug, which I just found. Luckily enough, we don't need to look at that for too long. Let's have a look at the map stats. We're going to be up on Katrina SE. Now Katrina SE hasn't been going too well for Protoss so far. We're actually 7 for 3 in favor of Terran here. And now that isn't necessarily due to map imbalances. There's been a few imbalanced matchups. I was actually looking at some of the matchups we saw, and there was some like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But still, a really, really fun map. We've had some great games on here. We actually had a 40-minute PvT on here before as well. So I doubt we'll see that here. kogeT obviously statistically a lot stronger than White. White being the clan leader of Clan White. But it's going to be cool to see if White can stand up here against the Polish powerhouse himself in kogeT as we get into game number 3 on Katrina SE. It's kogeT versus White. And I know there is a little bit of a bug with the overlay that I keep seeing happening, but hopefully that isn't too much of a problem. Kind of ruins my overlay like stuff I saw, but I'll sort that out in a second. Starting us off here in the 9 o'clock position, we do have the Teal Terran fighting for Net Wars. It's kogeT.
That's right, and his opponent on the other side of the map is White. Well, he's in the orange, but his name is White, playing for DM.
Okay, so things are going to look fairly formulaic at the start. We're likely going to see White go into... I'm going to take a guess and say he's going to go into 2-gate Power Goon, just because it is quite powerful on this map. You can't really wall in. There's no massive place you can like put a bunker and go, well, you can't beat me now because I have a bunker and SCVs preparing.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Anon, for donating $1. That really does help. Free 80s mullet. I can't free 80s mullet. I have no power over Shamtu. I'm sorry. Like,
I love it when like Brood War channels and streams sort of like flow into each other. It's like, is this a chat that JorDaddy is or isn't banned in? It's like, well, you know, you go into what you don't know. You know, you're watching this streamer, but he hasn't made the best decision any streamer could make, and then you have to deal with that. But you know, there are benefits to and downsides to every stream, and of course, donating to Kix is one of the benefits of watching STPL.
Well, I must say thank you very much. Of course, once again, to Anon does help me a lot. I know it's just $1, but that's all good. It all adds up in the long term. And obviously, if you do want to donate to the prize pool as well, there is a Matrino link that gets spammed every once in a while. I think it's !Matrino, but it's been a while since I've done that. But I do really appreciate the support. And, I mean, 7XL coming up for White. kogeT going in for a gas, a barracks, going to be putting a depot next to that barracks as well to create another bigger wall against zealots, and he's just going to be perfectly safe.
Yeah, and I'm glad you pointed that out. Icarus is really weird. You know, in StarCraft 2, having in-base naturals is actually really common for a lot of maps. But in StarCraft 1, it's really rare to have an in-base natural. And obviously for kogeT, you know, his is really close by air to White's. So if a shuttle comes out, it's going right towards there. So maybe that's something that kogeT has to keep an eye on. But also the way that you wall in is just really convoluted because the ramp into your main is just gigantic. So, you know, sometimes you can use that power generator, but other times it's better to just kind of build a wall that's going to help you against zealots if they go for a forward gate.
So you want to know the funny thing? I've been playing this game for 10 years, watching it for 11, and you know what I learned the other day? You can repair neutral Terran structures, which explains why this map has power generators and not the other ones. I finally understand. I think it was in Proleague I saw someone doing it. They were repairing one of the side disruptors. And I was like, wait, you can do this? And you can. Like, Terran can repair Terran neutral buildings. It all makes sense now.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Kix. Like, of all, like, I'm trying to think about, like if somebody else can name something dumber than that, like hit me up. It's like, can they repair Lyotes too? Like can Zergs infest Panda Bear guys? I guess they can parasite them. It's close enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know, man. As soon as StarCraft 3 comes out, we are really gonna have to patch that.
If you know what, in StarCraft 3 they need to add more of this stuff back, more of the like really dumb things.
No.
That's the best thing about Brood War.
This is why, like, if you're new to the game, you're just like, well, yeah, I mean, you just repair it. And I'm like, no. And then you have to convince that new person exactly how ludicrous that is. But thank you for imparting that wisdom on us. You know, Brood War is 20 years old, but I still learn new things about it every day. So thanks for that tidbit of the day, Kix.
Yeah, and I mean, just to point out, like, on this map especially, you can actually use this power generator as part of the wall. Now, I've actually seen a Terran player lose the game on this map in the STPL because they lost the power generator. Now, if only they knew the advice I learned from Proleague, they wouldn't have died that game, and the stats may have been 8 for 2 rather than 7 for 3.
Sure. Okay, Kix. We'll give you that one. Anyway, hey, it's exactly like I said. Shuttle's on the way from White, or at least theoretically, he's got a robo on the way. He's going to know where his opponent is going to expand to eventually. But first, he's going to use the ranged Dragoons to outrange the turret and wait until siege mode finishes. It's just this annoying part of being a Terran playing against the Protoss.
Yep, and
or one of them.
When you're a low-level Terran, like I still am realistically, it's really hard to keep the bunker alive. If you lose the bunker, you die. But luckily enough, kogeT's a lot better than I am, and being one of the best foreign players certainly has its benefits, allows him to play a little bit safer like that. Now, it's not like he went 1 Rax fast expand where his tanks would have been majorly delayed. He got his tanks really quickly, siege mode is done very quickly as well, and White is already forced back from his choke.
Sure is, Kix. And now that he's forced back from there, I mean, this is sort of, you know, the bunker might be on fire, but nothing else is, right? You've got time to stabilize. Siege mode is sort of the great equalizer, or, well, unequalizer as the case may be. And that means that kogeT's going to be able to mine safely off of 2 bases, which Terran players can do for about a million years.
Yeah, and it looks like White is going to be doing similar. He is going to sit on his 2 bases for a while. Now, White's interestingly going to take his 3rd base at this minute only. I'm not really too sure I agree with this. If he expanded to the top right-hand corner, for instance, it'd be absolutely miles away from kogeT. And I mean, this is dangerously close to where the Terran units are going to be pushing. I mean, I guess if you push this 3rd base, you're not going to be pushing the main due to the way the map works with these ramps. But not too sure about taking this mirror only, but maybe it's going to play into DM White's later plan. Obviously, mirror only is very good for going into carriers. We could see some Arbiter tech as well, but we're a long way off of that for White, as he's not really made his decision yet of exactly how he's going to play.
Yes, you are correct. We haven't really committed to anything super crazy. I mean, obviously there's a third base coming up, but that's sort of par for the course as a Protoss versus a Terran. So there's no pressure you can really put on at this point for White. So it's like, okay, well, I can't really do anything until I either get a tech or economic advantage. So he's going to go for the eco and try to get that third base up. Feels bad that it's only a mineral only. There's a it looks like a depleted gas geyser next to it, but it's not. I guess it's what happens when a gas geyser like sinks into the ground. Maybe there's a sinkhole under that one at the third, but eventually both of our players are just going to macro up huge armies, and the Terran players will be better. It sounds so funny to say, but it's actually just true.
The thing is, the way the game was, well, I don't know if necessarily it was how it was designed, but the way the game has worked for the past 20 years is obviously Protoss players have weaker units in the late game, the upgrades don't scale as well, but that's why you see the best PvT players, they take another main, they build 50 gateways at each base, and they come at you from multiple angles. And yes, it may seem overpowered, but you do need multiple armies to take down a full net ball. That's always how it's worked, and you know what? It's really cool when you see it. One of my favorite TVPs of all time, obviously Fancy versus Stork, where you see Fancy trying to push across the map against Stork's carriers, but Stork still has like 2 gateway farms in either side of the map, and he just sort of crushes forward in both directions with his carriers sort of attacking the main as well. So definitely got to make use of the extra gateways. One of the things I've noticed from a lot of Protoss players in the STPL is they don't build nearly enough gateways in the late game. So hopefully White is going to build a few more than we usually see.
Hopefully. It's going to be hard to win if he doesn't. But, you know, we've still got plenty of game left to play, kicks, as they say. And so we're going to have to see what the next decision is from both of our players. So from kogeT, he is just macroing. That's basically all you can say. Obviously, he's getting upgrades on the way. +1's a big timing for Terran players, +2 even more so, right? And there are Terrans that wait for 2-1, and then obviously if you're only going for 1 armory, you're just going to get the +2, and that is when you start to really create a whole lot of blue goo on the map.
Yeah, 2-1 is definitely one of the major breakpoints in TVP. It mainly comes back from Flash. Flash, obviously one of the innovators of TVP of the last 10, 11 years. Flash realized that at 2-1, your units have an insane amount of power against what the Protoss usually has. And he basically developed an entire playstyle around the act of getting 2-1 as quick as humanly possible, and just pushing with a maxed out army around 13, 14 minutes. But kogeT, unfortunately, looks like he doesn't quite have the same level of macro as Flash, so he's going to max out a little bit later. He is going to be trying to get a third base at this gas in the middle, and he is, of course, going for a little bit later 2-1 than what you could see.
Yep, it's
Oops.
What an excellent summary. Indeed he is. But I actually love White's position here, right? He's got pretty much total map control, and as long as he can clear up these... yeah, and what I was saying is, like, as long as he can clear up these mines, he's not actually doing that. He needs one more hit on this Vulture, and obviously I guess the tank is pretty impervious at this point. So I take that back. I actually thought the cannon was in a different spot just by looking on the minimap, but it's a pylon on the north and a cannon on the south instead of the other way around. So that means that White's got a kind of a timer here. He's got to deal with this. He's having one of his whole bases shut down by just a small drop, and there's nothing back home to deal with it.
Yeah, kogeT come in from a really, really good angle. Got a good number of probes with Vultures as well. Got a good number of units with the mines he left behind. And kogeT's not done. He's setting in 3 Vultures at the front to try and lay some mines. Does get forced back, but that's more and more units that will not be able to flow out of White's base as easily as they want to. Now, it looks like the tank has finally been cleaned up, but no, it actually got picked up by the dropship, and he has flown away with it. Now, White does have the ability to catch this, so this tank is eventually going to go down, but this is just more APM that White has to spend doing things he doesn't want to be doing at this point of the game.
Yeah, things White wants to be doing at this point in the game is taking the upper right base, you know, getting into Storm Tech, but instead he's actually going into Arbiters instead, and theoretically, if kogeT decides to be a terrible player and clump all of his tanks up, then sure, man, that money stasis is how you get back in the game. You don't want to go for recall here because when you're in an army disadvantage, you need to equalize that. When you're in an economic disadvantage and you lose all your probes, the vultures kill. That's also not how you want it to go.
Yeah. Now it looks like kogeT is going to push forward as 2-1 has finished. He's in a really good position. That's too much for White to handle. GG! White taps out and Net Wars take a very quick 3-0 victory.
Yeah, they sure do. I mean, we are going to have the fourth game played after this, but it will not count towards their standings. Well, I guess it will overall, yeah. But the idea is that it won't decide who wins or loses. It's a 3-0 victory here for kogeT, and that, or for Net Wars, kogeT, of course, kind of being the nail in the coffin there at the end. And I believe that solidifies them in the playoffs for round 3, right, Kix?
I think it's still going to be close. Net Wars, IRK, and Red were all on even match wins, losses, and the player wins and losses were the major difference. Obviously, Net Wars taking a big lead here with 4-0, but things are still going to be close moving in to the end of week 4, the end of week 7 even. So still all to play for, I think. Obviously, Net Wars starting off strong here. Going to be getting a little bit harder for IRK and Red to catch up. But we're going to be heading into game number 4 when we get back. This.